Brooklyn Independent Television.
Still need to file your taxes but a little short in cash? I'm Melissa Rose Cooper, and I'll show you where you can get the help you need for free.
I'm Brian Vines at the House of the Lord Church, where Brooklyn is responding to Trayvon.
Coney Island is alive and kicking. I'm Sherry Carabin, and coming up on Brooklyn Review, I'll take you to the official opening of the rides, including my favorite, the Wonder Wheel.
These stories and more, next. Welcome to Brooklyn Review. I'm Brian Vines, and it is tax season. And while some are looking forward to getting a nice chunk of change back from Uncle Sam, others can't even afford a tax preparer. But there are ways to save on tax preparation and maybe even get a little money back. Melissa Rose Cooper is shedding the light on some Brooklyn organizations that can help prepare your taxes and get you on the road to financial empowerment.
Filing your taxes can be difficult and costly, especially if you don't have the means to pay. But thanks to some community organizations, it doesn't have to be that way for Brooklyn residents.
There's a lot of need in the community also, for these financial services.
Together with the Food Bank for New York City and Carver Bank, Bed-Stuy Restoration is just one of a number of sites in Brooklyn offering free tax assistance services to low-income professionals.
By partnering with them, it allows us to provide tax-free preparation in the communities in which we serve. It's actually open to any of the residents in the community.
Taxpayers who earn less than $18,000 with no dependents or less than $50,000 with dependents in the prior year are eligible.
The community has always been a big supporter of Carver, and we feel that this is one of the partnerships that works well, not for only Carver but the community as well.
The ultimate goal for each community organization that supports these free services is to get working Brooklynites every penny they're supposed to get. One entitlement is the Earned Income Tax Credit, which can be worth up to almost $6,000 for those who qualify.
We actually started to get involved in this probably 10 years ago when we realized that Earned Income Tax Credit could be sort of one of the most important anti-poverty programs that existed, because it's working people getting money that they're entitled to, and yet many people didn't know that they could get the money or how to ask for it. And we really wanted to make the point that this is a benefit that can come to you because you're a working person. And rather than make it difficult for people to access, we thought if we co-located this at a bank or some sort of financial institution, it was the right kind of setting.
The tax assistance program isn't the only free financial service Bed-Stuy Restoration offers.
Besides the financial service, we also offer social services, for example, the food stamps, health care, legal services, and workforce development services. And oftentimes, we see, when people come in for services, it's not just one area that they need to work on. If they're looking for a job, for example, it might also benefit them to meet with a financial counselor to sort of stabilize their financial household while they're searching for work, right? Because it takes a lot of a person's mind if you don't have to worry so much about your financial household when you're looking for a job.
Brooklynites couldn't be happier that free services are available and easily accessible to them.
It's a beautiful thing because other people, they charge, XY amount of dollars. This way I don't have to worry about me coming out of my pocket, when I can just, with the other people, I can just come here and have them do it for free.
I feel very good. It's only some time spent, that's all.
I think this is a good service that Brooklyn is doing for people who cannot afford to pay for taxes.
To find the nearest free income tax service site, contact the Food Bank or call 311. For Brooklyn Review, I'm Melissa Rose Cooper.
Church was in session at Mount Pisgah Baptist in Bed-Stuy, but not for the kind of service that you'd expect. The church opened its doors to Brooklynites with minor lingering warrants before they became major problems. Tati Amara has the story.
At the Mount Pisgah Baptist Church in Bed-Stuy, church was in service, but not the kind that you would expect.
On Good Friday, this is our way of just giving back.
The church hosted its second annual Project Safe Surrender in partnership with Legal Aid and the District Attorney's Office.
You can assure them that they can come to the church and have those warrants taken care of right here, then they are willing to do that. And so we're here for them. We're here for our community.
The event is an opportunity for people to resolve outstanding summons or warrants for offenses such as littering or being in a city park after hours.
We just do not believe that you are innocent until proven guilty. We believe that the way the law behaves is you are guilty until proven innocent. People have these clouds over their heads called cease summonses and warrants, and these summonses and warrants make them susceptible to the law in almost a very cruel and unfair way.
For the last 2 years, I've been lucky. I haven't been stopped for nothing. But if I was walking and the cops just stopped me and checked me, and I got that warrant popped up, I would have went through the system.
Walik had 4 summons dismissed and saved about $500. And the church expects to help hundreds of more people in a similar way.
Really 3 types of people coming. Those who are invited because we have their names and they're being looked for. The other one is people who have recently gotten summonses and they want to come in and get them out of the way here rather than go downtown. And then you have a group of people who come just to be sure things are clear.
The process is much like court, complete with a judge on premises, and like court, our cameras were not allowed inside. But the setting, they say, is what makes all the difference.
Even though here, you know, it has that court feeling because of the officers and everything, but, you know, it's a little more relaxed because it's a church and you got people from the community that you might recognize, so it's a little more comfortable, man. I think it's a great thing.
As soon as you walk in to a setting like this, there's a whole different feeling about what's going to happen. And everybody pretty much leaves satisfied. Every different member of the criminal justice system is present. The client can safely know that we are all there to make sure that that client resolves that matter so that he or she never has to worry about getting arrested again.
And I had to ask.
Everybody.
You look like a weight was taken off of your shoulders.
Yeah, I feel like a weight was taken off of my shoulders. Like I could walk around, I don't gotta look over my shoulders and worry about, oh, if I get stopped for jaywalking or spitting on the sidewalk, I could go through the system for a weekend, so.
The idea of actually collaborating on a process that is not adversarial and actually has our clients and potential clients leave with a smile on his or her face, and we don't see a lot of that in criminal court, it has given us a great deal of satisfaction.
For Brooklyn Review, I'm Tati Amara.
People for Political and Economic Empowerment was one of several organizations that supported the Atlantic Yards projects. But just last summer, the group was protesting at the gates of the now almost completed Barclays Center over the promise of jobs that never came. Now the organization has a new location where they're training people for jobs in construction, as well as political empowerment. Anna Lamontis Salisbury has the story.
I want your turn now. I want you to get it mixed. You know what I'm saying? Because I want you to be able to hold that mud just as well. All right? That's all right, partner. It's going to fall. That's why we call it the school. But I'm saying I want you to control it so that this way it don't fall. You know what I'm saying? Remember, you got a 14.
Building a community takes many hands and a variety of strategies. That's what's behind People for Political and Economic Empowerment's array of community projects. People for Political and Economic Empowerment is a grassroots group in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. Its first goal has always been to prepare men and women with the skills they need to qualify for construction jobs created by the Atlantic Yards Project, which began back in 2005.
My name is Martin Allen. I'm president of PPEE. My role is to try to employ the hard to employ, which is basically ex-cons, people that's homeless, people who are seeking to better themselves. We try to upgrade small businesses so that they be able to compete with developers that's coming into our community.
The Atlantic Yards is fast becoming the Barclays basketball arena to be followed by 16 high-rise buildings proposed by Forest City Ratner. Last summer, PPEE held several protests against the project.
Well, Atlantic Yards Project, we protested them because it's basically a union-based job, and a lot of the people that protested with us fought to make that job possible is not able to get in the union. Atlantic Yard itself is gone. It's basically over. But they got 16 other buildings that they're building behind Atlantic Yards. And these are what we're focusing on now.
People for Political and Economic Empowerment's training services include OSHA workplace safety, flagging, scaffolding, and security.
Now, remember I told you, this is not touching, really, but everything is going this way, so let's use this side and not more this side, all right? My name is Anthony Seabrooks, and the name of my program is Universal Child Project. We teach plastering, we teach sheetrock sometimes, and we teach anything to do with stucco, dry vet, teardrops. We do design. We like Picasso. We turn a bad wall into a good wall.
The apprenticeship program began in 1996. It takes place every Saturday morning at a brownstone in Crown Heights, formerly known as the Shirley Chisholm Cultural Center. Students are instructed by Richard Hudson.
I've been in construction since 1985. I started as a taper's apprentice. Before that, I was a carpenter's apprentice. And then I moved into plastering and taping, and I was in Local 530 many years ago, me and Mr. Seabrooks.
Richard and Anthony both volunteer their time. The program depends on donations. But one day they hope to have an after-school program. Universal Child Incorporated and PPEE work together under an Each One, Teach One model.
Have you seen anything? Because in that way you can report back to us.
The next lesson, gaining a deeper understanding of how to participate in a political campaign on both the local and the national level.
People in our community don't understand politics, and they don't understand their own strength. And by not knowing their own strength, because they don't have no knowledge of politics, they don't know that the people that's in office is representing them.
I have to, my shameless plug for Bed-Stuy is, I'm going to make sure everybody has one of these cards, but there's just 10 points that we came up with that how the president directly has impacted positively communities of all.
We here at PPE to try to give them another outlook, because a lot of us have been caught up in the same thing that we're trying to change them with. Is that, we've been incarcerated, we bumped our heads numerous of times. So our goal is to try to let them know it's a better way.
For Brooklyn Review, I'm Anna Lamontas Salisbury.
The eyes of America are on Florida after the death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin, who was gunned down in late February. Here in Brooklyn, After Trayvon, a message to black males, took place at the House of the Lord Church.
My son is 16. He wears a hoodie every day. I avoided emotionally getting involved in Trayvon Martin in terms of the whole idea because, I think about my son walking out the door and not coming back. And that's a heavy thing to think about as a parent, I immediately think about the fact that, I'm very involved in my son's life. I coach his football team and work with him, and we've done everything together. He's like one of my best friends, and to imagine every one of those experiences being taken away, the opportunity to see him grow and to become something and achieve, and it's kind of like when that proverbial scene in Roots where a black man holds his child up to the sky and he's thinking about all the things he can be, and to have that kind of snatched away over something as trivial as someone's idea, a concept of who you are, not what your reality is as a black man. Not that you're a criminal, but the concept that you may be one. And I think it's important for us to talk about it, to express the ideas behind it, because it's a bigger thing than just some random, white man being, racist. It's the ideas of, our image as men, the images we project, the value we have on our own lives, and that we place and how we express that value. And I want my son to see how real it is.
I could be Trayvon Martin. The likelihood of me being shot on the streets or harassed by a policeman or just a random racist person is very high. So I have to be here. I feel that it's necessary for me to be here.
It makes me kind of feel like I have to watch my back every time I'm walking around. And I walk around late at night coming from school or wherever it is most of the time. So it makes me more aware, definitely.
I think I'm just trying to, show solidarity for my people. I'm outraged over this. It's not the only case. It's become a common occurrence, and I don't really know what's going to transpire tonight. Hopefully the outcome will be that eventually the Zimmerman will be placed in handcuffs and arrested, prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
I just wanted to come be a part and see if there's more I can do besides, posting on Facebook and talking about it. I'd like to hear what other people have to say in the community.
I want to thank the mothers, the fathers, the sons that have shown up here who are going to be speaking. I want to thank the lawyers, the therapists who are here, because what we're talking about tonight is that we understand, in fact we understand that many of our people around the country who are incredibly fired up and angry about what has happened here, because as we know, it's not just Trayvon Martin, but it's Ramarley Graham in the Bronx, it's Brother Chamberlain in White Plains, New York, it's all over the country. One thing that's important for us is to tie and connect all of these dots. I'm so happy that the parents of Sean Bell are here, and I want to bring them up.
They say bad things about my son. That's all right. We love him. That's what makes it different. And we make sure he show love like we doing to the other kids. We're not hiding away. We're not going away. All right. We're going to be there. Yep.
I am Ms. Diallo. I am Ms. Graham. I am Ms. Martin. There's so many more than those I spoke of. There's so many, I can't name them all. But it's coming from a mother. We have the same thing.
I'm not a lawyer in Florida. I'm a lawyer in New York. The law is different in Florida than it is in New York. The first thing I did was look up the stand your ground law in the state of Florida. And let me tell you this, make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. Zimmerman broke the law.
All right.
He should have been arrested that night.
Come on, man.
If Trayvon had stood his ground and was alive, he would be in handcuffs.
We hear folks talking about these young brothers, but people need to let them talk for themselves. Am I right, Sean? So we want to make sure we pass the microphone to some of the young men that are here and hear their voices and what they have to say about this.
Downstairs, we talked about basically how we feel about the Trayvon Martin case and what we think needs to happen to, how can you say, change black youth. And basically, we just need to work. And that's all I feel. We need to work hard and change and learn more.
Spring is a time of rebirth, and nowhere is that more apparent than at Coney Island, where this month they lowered the gates and cranked up the rides, giving enthusiasts a chance to experience new thrills and enjoy some old favorites. Sherry Carabin is there, giving us a preview of what to expect from America's favorite playground by the sea this summer.
Excitement was in the air in Coney Island on April 1st as ride operators ushered in the start of a new season.
1, 2, 3.
First up, Dino's Wonder Wheel Park, whose owners continued a 34-year-old family tradition with the blessing of the rides.
Lord, we ask that you would bless the Vodaris family immensely this year. We pray for this season that there would be safety, there would be joy.
It's a 34-year-old tradition started by my parents. What we do is we invite 300 local children from the Salton Sea Mission here in Coney Island to enjoy the rides and lunch for free.
This year, the Wonder Wheel itself will be sporting a new but familiar look.
We did bring back a look from the early 1940s, which lasted all the way through to 1983. It was incandescent lighting on top of the swinging cars. My nephew designed and built a system that utilizes solar energy to charge a battery that powers lights on the cars. So it's, if you want to call it green, it's a green wheel.
The Wonder Wheel was first built in 1920, and despite all the recent additions in Coney Island, it's still one of the most popular rides around.
They just don't make them like this anymore. I go way back. So when it's opening day, this is the first ride I hit, and it brings back all kinds of memories. It's nostalgic for me. And as far as all the high-tech rides, they don't come close to the old-fashioned Wonder Wheel.
The Wonder Wheel isn't the only old favorite that got a special welcome. Borough President Marty Markowitz also performed the traditional egg cream christening of the Cyclone.
I'm always excited as long as I don't have to get into one of those cars and go up and actually experience the ride. My wife, however, loves this. She goes on many times during the summer. She adores it. So, God bless.
For fans, there's yet another reason to give this 85-year-old coaster a try. Crews have replaced about 280 feet of the track over the winter.
They've rebuilt the major first drop, the dramatic first drop. They've spent an obscene lot of money. They're restoring and perpetuating this landmark. And you got to try it again, even though you might know the Cyclone very well.
There were certainly plenty of people online hoping to be the first to try it out.
We're really excited to see how much smoother it can be.
He was 52 inches last year. He couldn't ride. So now this is his first ride, and I thought this is a great day to come down. It's opening day, get a free ride, and that's why we're here. He's 55 inches now.
Are you excited?
Yes, I am.
The rides are not the only trace of Coney's past. Two well-known boardwalk eateries, Paul's Daughter and Ruby's Bar and Grill, that were slated to close, got a last-minute reprieve, with their landlord, Zamperla USA, deciding to offer them long-term leases instead.
They're the lifeline of Coney Island economic expansion. I mean, they're the ones that have been here through the years when it was slow or when the crime rate was high, and for 20, 30 years they just held out as long as they could, and they should be part of the renaissance of Coney Island.
Is the boardwalk going to be all concrete?
Not all of it, and nothing is a done deal yet, just because, common sense will prevail. That's what I believe.
There are plenty of new reasons to pay Coney a visit, including all kinds of rides and a new Nathan's right on the boardwalk.
We have new restaurants. We have a brand new bumper car downstairs that's the largest in all of New York.
Many of these young visitors already have their favorites.
The Sea Dragon.
What's your favorite ride?
The Wonder Wheel. The Bumpy Car. Because it's so bumpy.
For everyone else, there's plenty of time to decide. Coney Island is now open on weekends and school holidays until Memorial Day weekend, when it will begin operating 7 days a week until the end of the season on Labor Day. This is Sherry Carabin reporting for Brooklyn Review.
With 5 years under its belt, the BK Style Fashion Weekend was once again ripping the runway. Reporter Fred Brown was at the Industry City Warehouse in Sunset Park, where Brooklyn designers were once again in the spotlight.
After 5 years, the BK Style Foundation has once again put Brooklyn fashion on the map, with the best models, designers, and stylists you can find. And according to the BK Style Foundation founder and organizer Rick Davey, it's all been a labor of love.
the love of fashion, the love of creativity, and the love of people, and just trying to help emerging designers, young designers in high school. You know, it's still a progression, you know, but it's a good one. Well, the ongoing mission of the foundation is really to support the emerging designers. I'm hoping that we could really get the financial backing so that we could actually allow major designers who are really emerging to come and show for free from around the world and really bring something to Brooklyn, the borough.
My name is Andrea Pitter. My line is called Pantora. As I actually was a part of Brooklyn Fashion Weekend about 2 years ago, and it opened great doors for me, and it's an amazing opportunity. It's basically a platform to give independent designers some exposure, and I think that's really great.
The BK Style Foundation isn't just about ripping the runway and exposing the talents of local designers. It's also an opportunity to give back to those in need.
Well, we're working with 2 charities this year. The Paul Robeson Theatre, which was founded by Dr. Josephine English. And then our next charity is called Soul for Soul. And I really like this organization because it aligns with fashion. It gives shoes to kids around the world who more than likely wouldn't have shoes unless somebody gave it to them.
People should pay attention because a lot of really great talent come out of Brooklyn. A lot of people move away from Brooklyn forgetting their roots, but we stay here and we stay firm. And Rick brings it out, and Rick gives an opportunity to all of the designers in Brooklyn to showcase their talent and keep it in Brooklyn, because Brooklyn really is a mecca for a lot of really, really good talent, and we're keeping it here.
Because it's a new experience for us. Like, we are for the first time in the United States, so I think, and for the first time in visiting New York. So Brooklyn for us is just something new and something more different, maybe.
And how do you like it?
It's amazing. It's perfect. Yes.
For Brooklyn Review, you've been around town with Fred Brown.
Well, that brings this Brooklyn Review to a close. If you missed anything or you're just dying to check it out again, visit us at our home on the web at brickartsmedia.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, wherever you want us, that's where we'll be. Until next time, bye now.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at brickartsmedia.org/BIT.